Sophia, here's to you. From After Dark World Headquarters, this is your fave, right? Correspondent KD, welcoming you, all my early morning risers, to another great morning report. So for Mr. and Ms. America, all ships at sea and all sods everywhere. Let's get right into it, shall we? I want to show you one of my favorite rock posters of all time right there. Actually, I'll lean it down like this. This is Steppenwolf, of course. And I always had this on my wall growing up. And for my money, one of the best rock and roll posters ever. Now, there's John Kay. Now, John Kay's a very tall man. Way over 6 feet. So you'll notice that he's kind of slouched, bent down, so he'll even the rest of the guys out. But anyway, this is a great poster. And I don't know why I'm showing you this other than I just want to spread the word about how cool this is. I love the band. As you know, I've spoke about Steppenwolf 7 and how much I love it. But anyway, here they are in all their glory, late 60s, maybe 1970. Badass poster. The only posters I know that could compare would maybe be some of the early Kiss posters. Sex Pistols' Never Trust a Hippie, which I always loved the Never Trust a Hippie poster by the Pistols. And maybe, well, it's more album covers than posters. I was going to say, if you had an album cover of Leave Home or Rocket to Russia and made that into a poster, it'd be real cool. But anyway, of course, that goes into the Hall of Fame. Now, I want to do a little show and tell for a minute. As I have mentioned in the past, I was a teacher for 15 years. And on occasion, I would have students that were so much fun and so intelligent that I could actually teach and have a great time teaching them. So on occasion, actually the one occasion in 15 years, I told several Jackie B stories. The first one was, it makes me laugh even now. Jack lived next door to his brother and his wife and his two nieces. Well, his two nieces just absolutely fucking insisted, well, we've got to have chickens. Well, you got to have a rooster if you're going to have chickens. So they got the whole package. So Jack worked 12-hour shifts in the textile mill. It's 4 a.m. Jack wouldn't have to get out of bed till, say, 6. And in the tree next to his window, his bedroom window, that rooster fires off. Jack said he levitated out of the bed. It was freezing cold. He staggers out on the front porch in his drawers, picks up a brick, and lobs it at the rooster, assassinating his damn ass. Rooster hits the ground, staggers off, runs off into the weeds, and dies. When his nieces asked what happened to the rooster, Jack says, well, I don't know. What do I know about it? So anyway, I told that story, maybe cleaned up the language a little bit. And there was this young lady who was really fun to talk to. And she found the story so hilarious. She was an artiste on the side that she said, if you'll give me a brick, I will paint this story on a brick. So here's the brick. Now, you can see the rooster at night in the tree. There's Jack's face hearing the rooster, and then she writes on the other side, the assassination of the rooster. I don't know. She just thought it was completely freaking hilarious that I said he assassinated that rooster with a brick. So that went over so good. The next day, I told him about the super cat that Jack had called Boot. Jack didn't like cats at all. But there were, Jack would say, a pack of wild cats that would run the neighborhood. And as Jack said, only the strongest survived. Well, Jack would usually just run the cats off, but Jack was old school in the fact he would throw food scraps into the yard, right? Some of you understand that, especially in the South, old school was toss food scraps in the yard. You didn't throw food scraps away, just let Mother Earth absorb it. Of course, you're feeding every varmint in the neighborhood doing that. And he said there was this cat, looked like he was starving to death. Well, Jack threw out some pumpkin rind, like a pumpkin, and there was a hunk of rind there. And next thing you know, he saw this cat eating it. He says, God almighty, that cat's so badass, he'll eat fucking pumpkin to make it. I ain't running him off. So I was living in Charlotte at the time, and Jack would tell me about Boot. And Jack says, well, you know what? I went out. Why I remember this, I don't know. At the time, there was some cheap-ass bologna called Bar H. And it was, I mean, like the bottom of the damn barrel. Like you could get a pack about like that for 80 cents. And he says, if that damn cat eats pumpkin rind, I wonder what he'd do if I gave him a hunk of bologna. But Jack wouldn't say bologna, he'd call it loney. So I threw a hunk of loney to that cat. And he said he just fucking inhaled it. So he said, well, shit. I think I'm going to keep this cat around. Now, the cat didn't like Jack. Only thing he liked about Jack was that he's giving food. The cat did not like Jack. Jack said on many occasions, the cat he'd be out in the yard, generally emptying his bladder. Now, I didn't tell the kids all this part. And the cat would come and kind of love up around his leg, and he said, I just wanted to see. I reached down to pet him. He hissed and run off. And he said, all right, cat, fuck you. If that's the way it's going to be, I'll let you hang around. But this ain't based on no friendship and love here. So, the cat, it seemed like every time I talked to Jack on the phone, since I was living in Charlotte, he'd give me some story. He named the cat Boot. And he say, oh, no, don't get it twisted, brother. It's not Puss in Boots. It's give him a boot. And so Boot continued to raise hell, hang around the house. And remember I told you that Jack said the cat was starving to death? Well, when I finally laid eyes on Boot, the cat was severely overweight. I mean, he had a gut almost dragging the ground. And as Jack said, he had a pair of nuts on him from behind that looked like 2 walnuts. So Jack had a bad habit of just any time of the day, even though he lived in Cliffside, he'd just go out, whip his dong out, and piss right in the yard. Well, the cat would come up, Boot, loving up on him, trying to get some food. Not that they liked each other. And Jack says, all right, motherfucker, here's the big test. He turned around and pissed right on top of his head. The cat shook it off. And as Jack said, he looked at me like, all right, motherfucker, you've humiliated me. Now I want to get fed. And Jack said that's when he totally earned my respects, as I went out there and gave him 2 hunks of bar H loney to feed his ass. And this was in the fall of the year. I told Jack, I said, because the cat, being a big Tom, would run off to go, how the old folks say, courting, and he'd disappear for 4 or 5 days in a row, come back, damn skin up, clawed up, all kinds of shit from his fucking and fighting escapades. And I said, Jack, if he makes it to Christmas, I'm going to buy him a cat bed, and I'm going to buy him a whole block of liver mush. If he'll eat damn pumpkin rind, he'll eat damn liver mush. Well, right before the end, Jack, being the complete maniac that he was, he had a wood stove. Well, he'd go to bed and just say, fuck it. Well, he'd get up early because it'd get cold as hell in that house. And he didn't store wood in the house or any back porch or anything. It was just in a pile, half-ass covered by a tarp. Ice, rain, all kinds of shit on it. And of course, Jack, being the lazy motherfucker that he was, he'd stagger out there in his drawers with a damn axe to chop kindling. And he lifted a hunk of wood off the top of the rack, and Boots laying underneath the hunk of wood like, motherfucker, what are you doing? He said the cat didn't move. And he just said, well, fuck it. I'll just set the hunk of wood back on Boots' little house and get another hunk. So I could just see this maniac out there, 20 degrees, busting kindling in his drawers. And so Boots started going and disappearing more and more. And by Christmas, he'd never come back. Jack says, he's the only cat I ever liked. He fucked himself to death. So anyway, I told the very cleaned up version of this to my kids, and the same girl was so amused by it, just by my description, she drew a picture that I'll now share with you. There's Boot. You see the gut dragging the ground? And that's probably liver mush, a block of liver mush. Well, anyway, I'm very fond of this picture. But Jack says the reason he was such a great cat, he belonged to a race of super cats that had to live by their wits and off the land. So I took all that time, so I'm going to end it today with a hustler joke, or 5. The Hustler Dictionary defines foreplay as premature ejaculator's nightmare. A man with leukemia insisted upon telling all his acquaintances that he had AIDS. Finally, a friend stopped him and said, I know you got leukemia, and that's pretty bad. But why are you telling everybody you got AIDS? Because when I die, he said, I don't want anybody fucking my wife. I'm hoping somebody has spit out some coffee by now. What is the difference between a pussy and a cunt? A pussy is soft, warm, and inviting. A cunt is the woman who owns it. Ouch. Oh, those politically incorrect jokes chose by Larry Flint personally. So here we are. Told you 2 amazing Jackie B stories. Take a look at this motherfucker one more time. That's pretty much what he looked like when he leapt out of bed to assassinate the rooster. And he did. So, let's get consequential shit done today. It's December 27th. Excuse me, it's not December 27th, it's December 28th. We got to get things done because National Goof Off Month will be over very soon. So, for Mr. and Ms. America and all ships at sea, all sods everywhere. This is your favorite correspondent, KD, thanking you for visiting with me this morning. I'm at 77 subscriptions. I would like to get more. I'd like to get to 78. Can you help me out? Always be nice until it's time not to be nice. Be kind to animals. Especially if you have a super cat living in your neighborhood. Discipline equals freedom. Never complain and never explain. You don't have unlimited time. Don't forget that. You don't have unlimited time. Get it done now, today. I want to see you on the road to adventure because I'm going to have a lot of adventures in the new year, and I want to see you out there, so maybe we can have an adventure together. So I wish everyone a glorious day. Take care of yourselves. Get shit done, especially consequential shit. And I will see you very soon.